In 2002, I was 9 years old. What also happened that year was the World Cup, co-hosted by Japan and South Korea. Did I watch any of the matches? I'm sure I did. Do I remember any of it? Absolutely not. So I'm not going to stand here and lie to you about how important the '02 World Cup was to me, because quite simply I was too young to remember. However, later on in life I would become a self-proclaimed boot nerd, and there would be something from the 2002 World Cup that would be extremely desirable to me that to this day I do not own, and that is the 2002 Japan Blue Adidas Predator Mania. For those that don't know their boot history, in 2002 for the Japanese national team, all of the Adidas contracted players were given a special colorway of the at the time Predator Mania in what was dubbed Japan Blue, had white stripes and a red tongue, matched the kit perfectly, and the boot was incredible. As far as I'm aware, that specific colorway of Predator Mania, unlike all the other ones, was only ever released in Asian markets, possibly only in Japan, but I cannot confirm that, which meant that out of all the Predator Mania colorways that came out, this one was by far the most rare and the most difficult to get a hold of, as you can see by the resale prices that are out there right now, the main reason why I personally do not own one. 18 years later, and the Japan Blue Predator Mania is back in remake form. And I have to tell you, it is one of the most beautiful football boots I think I have ever held in my hand. The remake retails for $350 like all the other Pred remakes, which is a ton of money, I understand that. But the quality, the look, the craftsmanship, everything about this boot is simply incredible. And the fact that we can now get this, I'm actually at a loss for words. It really doesn't get cooler than this for me. I can't tell you how many times I've been accused of being an Adidas hater since starting these videos over 9 years ago now, but when they do stuff like this, I really can't say anything bad. If they do something stupid or any other brand, I'm gonna call them out, but when the products are this good, so what I want to do in this video is kind of just nerd out a little bit on these, go over all the little details, compare it to the original, also compare it to the December 2019 Predator Mania remakes that were also really good, but trust me when I say these ones are that much better. And of course, we'll also take a look at how they fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around, watch the entire review. And if you're interested in a pair for yourself, keep in mind these are very, very limited. Adidas never specified how many they actually made, but there are still some available. So if you're interested in some for yourself, you can click the little pop-up in the corner of the screen or the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes to pick these up below the normal retail price. As far as extras go, the boots do come in a special box, which they should for $350. You can see the bottom of the box is blue, the top of the box is red, and then it has this kind of chrome effect Adidas logo and Predator logo there on the front. And it's kind of an older style box like a Predator Mania would have come in, which is kind of cool. You can see inside there's really not much other than, of course, the string bag, which is the typical kind of standard Adidas Predator bag. It is blue in color with the white Predator logo and Adidas logos there on the front. And it does have the stitch down the middle to kind of divide the bag into two separate sections so the boots don't have to touch each other. I'm not sure why Adidas thinks that's cool, but they continue to do it on a lot of their string bags. Either way, this gets a string bag score of 2002 out of 3,000. For 350 bucks, it should be better. However, the boots are so good that I'm not even mad about the string bag. Obviously, this is in the iconic Japan Blue with the red and white accents. Kind of a little bit of a Captain America vibe, I'm sure a lot of you guys will point out. Either way, there are some differences in comparison to the original Japan Blue Manias. The first most noticeable one is, of course, the red heel counter, which I have to admit, I kind of like more than the original, which would have had a blue heel counter. Another difference would, of course, be the entirely white sole plate. They opted for the red heel counter, and of course, this is now a split sole for the first time on a Predator Mania remake, given that this is the tooling from the brand new Predator 20 Plus and 20.1. But they went with red on the bottom, and then kind of this chrome white finish here in the forefoot, and it didn't come with any warning stickers letting me know that this is a wearable finish, but it does look to be a wearable finish based on other wearable finish boots we've seen from the Adidas brand, but I cannot confirm that 100%. Either way, that's supposed to represent the standard white on the regular Mania, and again, I just think it looks really good. Also, the original one would have had red studs, at least for the FG variation. This just has translucent studs with a little bit of red on the inside, just to give you that little highlight. Other than that, they're pretty well the same. If we got really nitpicky, I believe the original one had blue laces rather than red laces, but I don't really have a problem with the red laces that they've used. And you'll also notice that the striking element, it might look white in the video, but it actually ends up being a little bit of a light gray. I'm not sure why it's kind of off a shade or two. I'm not sure if that was also the case with the originals, because again, I've never actually held a pair in my hands, but it's not as pure white as the Adidas stripes here on the lateral side, which have that perfect flow to them. To me, this is one of the coolest designs ever featured on a football boot, to have the Adidas stripes flow from the forefoot, or the midfoot, sorry, on the lateral side, all the way through the midfoot, and then kind of flow into the split sole kind of heel area of the sole plate. It looks a little bit different on this remake versus the OG, which I have here. Again, see those stripes flow there. It's a little bit cleaner just based on the design of the split sole, but either way, this just looks really cool. And for a remake, my God, this is a pretty boot. Okay, I'm excited to show you this because I was honestly a little bit surprised myself. If I were to ask you which of these two boots was lighter, the brand new Predator 20 Plus or the classic Predator Mania Remake, given that they are both using the exact same sole plate base, which one would you think is lighter? If I were guessing, I would guess the brand new Predator 20 Plus. It's a thin, knitted upper, thinner materials, lighter materials. Surely this upper has to be lighter than one from 18 years ago. But as you're about to see, marketing is marketing and not necessarily the truth. So keep in mind, these are both in a size 9.5 US. We'll start with the modern and brand new Predator 20 Plus. You can see that they weigh in at 8.85 ounces, the equivalent of 251 grams, which is not super lightweight for a modern football boot, but obviously not really heavy either. We'll pull these off the scale and we'll throw on the remakes, again, with an upper from 18 years ago, and you can see that they weigh in at 8.7 ounces, the equivalent of 246 grams. How is that possible? I have absolutely no idea. Like I said, I'm surprised myself, but this just goes to show that marketing is just marketing. We've been led to believe that older style leather football boots are old school for a reason. They're heavier, they're clunkier, they're bulkier, and I definitely think that they are bulkier in regards to overall touch on the ball, but to suggest that materials like this are significantly heavier than what we have now with all these textile and knitted uppers, obviously, as you can see, that is not the case. As far as the upper itself is concerned, it's pretty much the exact same as what we saw on the red remakes back in December, which is not a bad thing at all, because Adidas really went through a lot of trouble to go over all the little details from the original and carry them over into the remake. This is as one-to-one as you're going to find. Everything that's supposed to be embroidered is embroidered. The intricacy of the stitching is amazing. You can see it has double stitching where it's supposed to have double stitching. The Adidas logo kind of stitched into the leather, so you get a more padded area right here that actually makes up the logo itself. That to me is really, really cool. Back in the day when synthetics weren't really a thing at the time, to have something like this in a natural material, that kind of just blows my mind. The striking elements themselves are dead on. The tongue is made out of the perfect leather. It has the embroidered logo on the top side and then the embossed logo there on the underside. You'll also find that it does have the elastic strap to hold the tongue down. The one thing that I did notice about this remake though is that the new tooling for the Predator 20 has this kind of diamond pattern on the bottom that quite honestly is a little bit sharp. So I would be worried long term that this pattern could actually kind of saw the elastic strap to the point where it would break, and I guess technically you could replace it if you really wanted to. It's not a huge deal and the boots just came out, so I can't confirm whether or not that will actually happen, but it's something that I did think of. But if you look here, all the little details of stitching all the way around these Adidas stripes that are made out of like this rubber material, then the stitches in between, you can see where the leather ends, kind of flowing into the split sole. It's the same material, or at least very close to the same material as the original, and that spans the entire bottom, even through the cutouts right here in the forefoot, which obviously wouldn't have been a feature on the OG Mania, but they just took the design and transferred it as best as they possibly could onto what is a modern sole plate and stud pattern. That I hate that I'm saying this, but honestly, I think that this might be the best version of the Predator Mania to actually play in that Adidas has ever made. Now, don't get me wrong, football boots have changed tremendously over the last 18 years, and I guess depending on how old you are, you'd probably argue that the change that they have made is for the better, and I kind of tend to agree with that for the most part. In the case of the Predator Mania, this is a style of football boot that has more or less gone extinct. While I think that out of the power boot era, this is one of the best designs and arguably one of the least bulky as well, I still think that by today's standards, it's a little bit clunky, and definitely the remake has more clunk to it, if that's the right way to put it, than most modern football boots that you can buy right now. But if you really wanted to wear a pair of Predator Manias in 2020, and I had the option between the original pair and a pair of these 2020 Japan Blue remakes, again, it pains me to say this, but I think I'd pick the remake. So as you can see, I have swapped out the stock red laces, which, like I said, the original would have actually had blue laces. And just like the original, I decided to go for some royal blue wide SR4U replacement laces without the reflective strips. And you can see it's not a perfect match, but just like the original, the laces were kind of really unnecessarily wide and ribbony and always had a little bit of an off shade to the color that didn't perfectly match the boots. So this is kind of an homage to the original, if you will. It's also a great way of changing up the style of your boots in a very inexpensive way. So if you are interested in some replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in some, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, these Mania remakes feel spectacular. There's really no other way to put it. I think that the original Predator Mania feels incredible as it is, but this really feels like an improvement on that. The leather, pretty much identical. It's soft, it's flexible. The upper as a whole just feels really good, but of course it's on that new Predator 20 base that I think works very much like the original Predator Mania in terms of overall shape, which is something that a lot of the previous remakes, whether it's the Mania or the Accelerators, the upper just doesn't match the sole plate base, where this time around it really does feel like a perfect match. And in comparison to the OG Mania, this sole plate is a little bit thinner, a little bit less clunky, it's more flexible, it just feels more natural and makes the boot as a whole feel that much better, which is why I really do think this is an improvement on the original, which seems like a crazy thing to say, but I really do feel that way about these. I do have them currently as Beckham would have worn them, not using the top lace hole with the tongue kind of extra flopped, so you don't even see the laces at all, which kind of defeats the purpose of changing them. This is not how I would personally wear them, I have to be honest. I use that top lace hole. I just like to have that little bit of extra lockdown, but even without using them, again, they feel like classic Predator Mania, so nothing to complain about there. Ultimately, that comes down to personal preference. As far as width is concerned, I would say that these are going to be suitable for most people. They don't feel super wide, they don't feel super narrow either, and they are kangaroo leather, super soft as well. They're going to stretch as you wear them in, so as long as you don't have super narrow feet, I think these will fit most people quite comfortably. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order some for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, my opinion on the 2002 Japan Blue Predator Mania is that it's $350 well spent, which is crazy to say because that is a tremendous amount of money for a pair of football boots, but this is as close to faultless as I think I've ever seen from a pair of boots in 9 years of making videos on pretty much every boot to come out in the last 9 years. What I will also say, and what is surprising for me to say, is that 18 years after the original Mania came out, this might very well be the ultimate version of the Predator Mania to actually play in. It's lighter than the original. I think it fits a little bit better than the original. The quality, I guess you could argue, is not quite as good. There's still that little bit of magic that the OG has that this one doesn't. But like I said, once the boots are broken in, and if you're gonna play in them anyways, it's not something that you're really gonna notice. If you can afford them, I definitely think this is one that you have to have in your collection, especially if you're a fan of the Predator series. And if you're curious what football boots were like, the very best football boots were like in 2002, this is definitely one that you want to have in your collection. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, keep in mind they are very limited, so get them before they're gone. You can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes to pick these up below their normal $350 retail price. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comment section. I'll do my best to get an answer out to you. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information information linked down below in the description as well. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.